Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel if you've been here before, and hello if you're new. So recently I've been doing a lot of thinking about the kinds of crochet projects I would like to make in the future. Due to a shoulder injury, I haven't been able to crochet much at all lately. And in the absence of actual crochet, I've done a lot of planning in preparation for the day when I can pick up a hook again. But in an effort to determine the kinds of projects I do want to make, I've inadvertently stumbled across those that I realize I definitely don't. And for a change of pace, I thought we would discuss those in the video today. Make sure you let me know how much you disagree with my list down in the comments. Before we get into the list, I do want to give one small caveat, just in case things change in the future. While a lot of things on this list, I'd say they're pretty much set in stone, I don't think I will ever crochet them. For some of them, there's a little bit of wiggle room there. While I'm not interested or don't want to or can't crochet them at the moment, that doesn't mean I won't change my mind in the future. I'm just sliding that little caveat on in there because in a year or two from now, if I change my mind and I end up making something from this list, no one's allowed to come for me and go, well, back in, what are we in? October, September 2024, you said you never wanted to make one of these. I'm open to changing my mind or having my mind change. That's all I'm getting at. So first on my list is scarves. I'm not a scarf wearer. Even in colder weather, I would prefer something like a hoodie to a scarf. It's like a sensory thing for me. I don't like things around my neck. Even high collared shirts like turtlenecks, cannot wear them. They're horrific to wear. So I don't like anything that's wrapped too tightly around my neck. And if you have a scarf and you just drape it over your shoulders, so it's like hanging down here, it's not wrapped around the front, to me that sort of defeats the purpose of a scarf. So I'm not sure I actually own any scarves. Well, apart from, as of filming this, the one I knitted the other day, but that's not actually going to be for me. I'm going to give that to my mum as a gift because she helped me so much during my first knitting project. And while we're on the subject, if you would like to see me attempt to knit for the first time, I'll pop the link down in the description. So yeah, scarves are a no-go for me. That's not to say there are not some fantastic designs out there. I saw one once that it was a scarf, but it was dinosaur fossils. That blew my mind. That was brilliant. I would love to make one, but the thing is, I know if I make it, it's just going to sit there. And if you have something like that, you got to show it off a little bit. A dinosaur fossil scarf is brilliant. I don't want to make it and just have it sit in my wardrobe forever. So yeah, scarves, definitely on my not interested in making list. Number 2 on my list is giant amigurumi. I'm not talking just like big amigurumi like my, you will make a fine example, but like big amigurumi like my Espion here. I'm talking about the giant, almost life-sized amigurumi I've seen. Don't get me wrong, I think they are really cool in theory. I just think once you take into consideration the costs, not just for yarn, but you'd have to factor in the cost of stuffing, any additional supplies you'd need for, decoration. Then you have the time it would take to create one of those things. On top of that, you'd have to figure out somewhere to store the bloody thing. Overall, I find them just way too impractical. As much as I would love to have like a huge dinosaur or dragon or Pokemon in my room, it's just far too impractical, and as much as I like the thought, I'm never going to make one of those. Although the only people who could probably talk me into that would be my nibblings, because they have mentioned in passing like giant Pokemon before. I'm not going to bring up the topic, but if they do, I find it difficult to say no to them. But yeah, I don't really want to be making giant amigurumi. Cool in theory, not so great in practice, I reckon. Number 3 on my list is bucket hats. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not a bucket hat fan, and that is not me saying anything negative about people who do like bucket hats. It's just not a particular style that resonates with me. Again, it's one of those things that if I made it, I wouldn't wear it. I could give it away, but I don't know anyone in real life who would wear a bucket hat. And to donate it, I could do that, but I prefer donating like the beanies, like the newborn beanies to the Premier Ward and stuff like that. I'm not sure if preemie babies wear bucket hats, so I don't think I'm going to be making one anytime soon. But yeah, it's just a style. I've never really liked it. I don't really have much more to say on the topic, to be honest. When it comes to bucket hats, it's simply a style thing. I don't like the way they look, so I'm not going to waste yarn and time crocheting one when it's just gonna sit there. I'd much prefer to spend time working on projects that are gonna bring me joy, or at the very least have some practical use. Number four is shrugs. I've actually got quite a couple that can fit in the accessory category, although maybe shrugs would fit more in clothing. Now, when I say shrugs, I mean those... I hesitate to use the word tops because I don't think there is enough of these for them to qualify as a top, but it's essentially the thing that goes sleeve, across the torso, which is called a yoke, I think, and then opposite sleeve. I look at those and I go, what is the point? What is the point? And like with the bucket hats, if you like this style, you do you. I'm not saying no one else can like it. It's just not for me personally. But I see that and I struggle to comprehend why. Maybe it's just a fashion statement kind of thing. As someone who doesn't do fashion statements, maybe that's why I don't understand. Yeah, I'm struggling to come up with another reason that you would make one of these. If you're someone who wears shrugs, please let me know your reasons for doing something. Is it just you like the way it looks? Is it, I don't know, maybe add a splash of colour to an otherwise maybe monochromatic outfit? I don't know. I'm confused. But like with the bucket hats and the scarves, if I made one of those, it's just going to be a piece that would sit in my wardrobe, taking up space, wasting yarn. So I would, again, rather make other projects. Number 5 on my list is doilies. Now, with doilies, I absolutely 100% appreciate the craftsmanship and the art that goes into them. I just could not make one for myself. With doilies, whenever I think of them or I see them, I get transported back to my childhood. My great-grandmother, she passed away when I was about 8, but I spent a lot of time with her when I was young, and her little flat that she had was doily central. She had doilies on every bloody thing. Every surface had a doily on it, like tabletops, couches, not just one, like over the back of the couch. She had them on the arms. She had them on the puffs, the footstools. She had them on the seats. Just, it was like a doily explosion. And more power to you if that's your decorating style. Is just not for me. So yes, I do appreciate the intricacies and the work that goes into making doilies. It's just not something I'm interested in trying. I think this is one of those ones that it's a hard no from me. I'm never going to make a doily. No, not even as a fun challenge for this channel. I just have zero interest in that. Number 6 on my list is not a specific pattern or type of pattern, but it is crocheting something that is viral/popular simply for the sake of it being viral/popular. The thing that comes to mind at the moment is those bloody leggy frogs. A couple of months back, I was seeing them everywhere. They kept popping up on YouTube. Even my sisters were sending me pictures of them from like Facebook, from Insta, and on TikTok as well. They sent me a couple of videos. They were legit all over the place. And I fail to understand why. I get, art is subjective, but personally I just never saw the appeal of leggy frogs. And that's where sort of number 6 on my list comes in. I wasn't going to make a leggy frog just because like everyone and their mum seem to be creating leggy frogs. I feel the need to just throw in another little caveat here because internet. I'm not saying don't crochet things because they are popular or viral, whatever term you would like to use. I'm just saying don't force yourself to do so if it's something you don't think you'll enjoy, but you think you should because, you're on social media and you might feel that pressure to sort of cater to the algorithm. Sure, it can be tempting, but create stuff that you enjoy. That is my overarching point here. On to number 7. Number 7 is actually something I would really like to make. It would just be incredibly pointless to do so, and that is pet jumpers or pet costumes, pet outfits. I have the 2 cats and the 2 dogs. Got Bella, Boo, Jasper, and Harley, none of whom would wear costumes. Jasper would play with his and it would be reduced back to threads within about half an hour. Boo, the grey fluffy cat, would not even let me get it on. I would probably lose a finger. Bella, the black cat, she'd probably suffer through it, but she would just give me that deadpan, disappointed stare until I took it off her. And then Harley, poor anxiety-riddled Harley, I wouldn't even be able to get it on her. She would be too scared. She does not like change. She does not like new things, and I would not do that to her. I wouldn't stress her out like that, which is kind of a shame because Harley is a black greyhound and I have always wanted to make her a Houndoom costume. If it wasn't for her anxiety, which is pretty bad, I might be tempted to give it a go, but I'm not going to stress her out. I'm not going to put her through that because I know she'd be terrified of it. So yes, definitely not doing that to her, which is a shame because I would love to dress my pets up in ridiculous little costumes. Oh, I could make so many cool things, but I think that one disappoints me the most. I'm so bummed out I can't dress up my pets. Ugh, number 8, even seeing the word makes me go, ugh. And that is gnomes. I freaking hate gnomes. I have always been creeped out by them. I don't know why. I think it's because maybe like the uncanny valleyness of it all, just the huge, I don't know. I just hate gnomes. I hate gnomes and I will never make one in Amaguri before. That's another one of those things that a while back, they kind of went viral. They were very popular. I was seeing them all over the place and I just had to hit the back button, click away because gnomes freak me out. Even though the crochet ones I've seen don't have eyes or those huge, awful smiles, they still creep me out and I will never ever make one. I don't even want to see them, let alone make one. I don't even want to talk about them anymore. Let's get on to number 9. And number 9 on my list is jewelry. Jewelry with an asterisk because there is the possible exception for earrings, but in general, I'm not a jewelry wearer. I don't wear bracelets or anklets. I don't wear necklaces. The only jewelry that I have on regularly is my sleeper earrings, and I have not removed those. Well, I used to remove them for when I played basketball, but otherwise I haven't removed those in like 20 years, to be honest. I'm just not a jewelry kind of person, and therefore making it, I feel like I'm using this word a lot in this video, but it'd be kind of pointless because again, even if I made it and tried to give it away, I don't know too many people in my life who would wear crochet jewelry. I did say that there would be a possible exception for earrings, and I would like to attempt to crochet those just because I think it would be a fun challenge to try and crochet myself some little dinosaurs or something like that, just something small and fun. But the thing is, I have some allergies, which means I can only wear a very specific kind of jewelry, so I would have to be very careful about what I actually put on my ears so I didn't break out in a rash, and that is kind of limiting. So when you compile those reasons together, in conclusion, I don't think I'll be crocheting jewelry, not even for a one-off to make earrings that I'm probably not going to wear. Moving down to number 10 on my list, and that is a water bottle holder. I was actually going to attempt one of these quite a while ago, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought, here's that word again, it would be pointless, because when I go out, I have a messenger bag that I take with all my stuff in anyway, that I hang on the back of my wheelchair, which I have to use for long distances. So I don't really need a specific bag to hold my bottle. And my water bottles that I have, they are all this size. This is, oh, I can't hold it with that shoulder, but this is 1.66 litres, and my other water bottles are roughly that size too. That is a big, heavy water bottle. And honestly, I don't know if crochet would be able to hold up to that. So not only do I not really even need it to begin with, because as I said, I have my messenger bag where I keep everything. I reckon my crochet would struggle to hold up these bottles. On top of that, all the water bottle patterns that I looked through, they were all for the, what are they called? The Keep Cool bottles. It'll come to me later. But they were all for the thin handle-less bottles. And while, you know, I could potentially make a bottle holder that had room for the handle as well, I think that would decrease the structural integrity, which would probably already be under strain just from the weight of this thing anyway. So in conclusion, for me, a water bottle holder would be the big P word, pointless. Maybe I should have called this list the things that would be pointless for me to crochet rather than the things I don't want to crochet. Moving on from number 10, we have number 11, and that is anything made with super chunky or super bulky yarn. And I'm talking yarn that you need like a 20mm hook for, sort of similar to, I think the only example I have at the moment is like my whale that I crocheted. I absolutely hated working with this yarn. It was just a terrible experience all around. It really hurt my hands. The yarn was unpleasant to work with. It's just, as I said, all around terrible. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend at all. And I certainly won't be doing it again. The only reason I had that yarn in the first place is because I think one of my sisters gave it to me. I think that was the yarn she wanted a pillow out of, but then she changed her mind. So I just had a bunch of chunky yarn sitting there. And I thought, hey, I'll use it up in a challenge, which I did. I might link that down in the description if you'd like to see it. But as a one-off, okay. Never again. Never again. Number 12 on my list is whips that I'm no longer interested in. This is a recent addition to the list, and I only kind of figured it out a little while ago when I was going through my whips. I don't see the point of hanging on to whips that I started with good intentions to finish, but they've sat there for a while, and now at this point, I'm just not interested in finishing them. And if I forced myself to do so, I know I wouldn't enjoy the process, and I think that would reflect in the finished product. So there are whips now that I'm just going to either frog them or finish them off to the point where they're usable for something else. So what I mean by that is I had a couple of figures I was going to turn into I don't even remember what characters they were supposed to be, but they were human characters from something, and I have no desire to finish those, so I'm just going to add some like yarn eyes. I might chuck on a bit of yarn for hair, and I'm going to give them to my niece because she's really been playing with her bubbas lately, her dolls, which she calls bubbas, so I'm going to give those to her. But other projects, I'm just going to frog them. I'm going to reuse the yarn for something that I actually enjoy making. I suppose one good thing about my shoulder having been injured and sort of limiting how much I can crochet, it's really forced me to assess what I really want to crochet. So anything that doesn't make that cut, and if I'm being honest with myself, I'm not going to finish off in the future. I'm just getting rid of it. And again, getting rid of it can mean either frogging it and reusing the yarn, or it can be finding another use or someone to give those projects to. Anyway, on to number 13, and this is going to be our final one for today. And number 13 is novelty yarn. I'm talking about I don't think I even have any to show you guys to demonstrate what I mean, but it's that horrible, like, fluffy, fuzzy, all the F words stuff that is just a nightmare to crochet with. I have used it in a couple of challenges before. Actually, hold that thought. I think I might still have... Do I have any? I keep a lot of my challenge ones. Ugh, I don't know. I have them somewhere. I'll have to find them. But it's just an entirely unpleasant experience all around to work with that yarn. And I've kept it in case I wanted to use it in future challenges, but I've reached the point where it's not even fun as a challenge to use that yarn. So I've decided to just donate what I had left. So hopefully it will go to someone who can get use out of it, and not only get use out of it, but actually enjoy using it. So from this point forward, I have nixed using novelty yarns. My last attempt is going to be, if I can grab it, is going to be to use up this skein of yarn. I have a project in mind, but I'm not going to say what it is just yet because it is a present for someone. And if they see this, I don't want them to know what it is. So that is also going to be a future video, but this is going to be the final time I use this novelty yarn because honestly, I'm too old for that shit now. I don't want to be using the novelty yarns. It's hard on my hands. It's horrible to work with. Just no. Just no. So that was my list of things that I'm probably not going to make, or my list of things that I think it's kind of pointless for me to make, as we are calling it. What do you guys think? Do you agree with some of the ones on my list? Is there anything that you refuse to make? If so, what is it? Let me know down in the comments. As I mentioned earlier, I am open to changing my mind on a few of these. It'll all just depend on how I'm feeling at the time. I went for the first, I'd say, 4-ish years of crocheting with absolutely zero interest in making granny squares. But then at the start of this year, I really got into them and I was really enjoying the projects I've been making with the granny squares. So I'm always open to changing my mind, which I know I think you should be to a certain extent. That is almost all I have for you today, but before we go, we do need to do... And today's featured creator on the hookup is Alexis, or LexsyCraftsLLC, and she says, "My name is Alexis, but a lot of my friends call me Lexy. I love to play Dungeons and Dragons and crochet. However, my recent passion has been 3D printing and painting miniatures for Dungeons and Dragons. I've started a YouTube channel to video my journey in the realms of painting and printing." That sounds really cool. I've always been intrigued by those miniatures and just like how much life people can give to something that's like this big. Very cool. If you agree and you think that's pretty cool, you can check out Lexsy's YouTube channel via the link down in the description. Also in the description is a link to a Google form if you'd like to apply for the hookup for yourself. Before you go, make sure you let me know your thoughts. Did you agree with my list? What would you change? What would you add? Thank you all very much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it, share it if you think it's worth sharing, and I will see you in the next one.